Hi, my name is Cesar Gomez, and I first wanted to say that I'm glad to be here, and I would like to thank AVID and Roadtrip Nation for choosing me to be here and represent my school. I go to South San Francisco High, and I'm known as a ninth grader. I am currently in the high school soccer team and was on the football team. I actually wasn't born here. I was born in Mexico, in Jalisco, Mexico, and went to school there for only kindergarten and first grade. I migrated to California in 2001 in about 6 years ago with my father, mother, older brother, my three sisters, two young ones and one older one. And the reason we migrated here was because my parents wanted a better education in life for all of my siblings. And coming here to the United States and going to public school was very hard. I started in second grade, but the school decided to put me back into first grade in a month into the year because they thought I would learn English better and faster. Learning wasn't the only thing I had to deal with. Kids used to pick on me and make fun of me because I didn't know any English and came from a foreign country. This meant that I had to try 3 times harder than them to get through the year and earn respect. And in order to accomplish these goals, I had to study all by myself at home since my parents couldn't help me because they didn't know any English either and couldn't comprehend the work. They tried to help me, but the only thing they could do is just push me and motivate me to speak English. It was incredibly difficult for me in that part of life, but thank God I got through it. Now my parents get upset because I won't talk to them in Spanish when we're out or we're at home. So now they want me to speak Spanish. Who understands them, right? Anyway, going into middle school, I had other types of struggles. For example, I had teachers telling me I wasn't going to be successful in life because the way I looked and dressed, and because of that, I just stopped trying. I would mess with teachers and in class and just sat in my seat. Only a few people believed in me, my older sister and my 2 teachers, my language arts teacher and my art teacher. My older sister told me that this wasn't the solution to the problem. She told me that you're not harming them, you're harming yourself by not doing your work. She told me to beat them and prove them wrong by graduating with good grades, high grade point average, and a clean record. And for me to get a high grade point average, I had to study all that time for tests and quizzes. Not all the time for tests and quizzes, not just that, but I had to keep doing my work at home. And to keep a clean record, I had to keep away from all those kids who made wrong choices. And getting accepted into AVID and in middle school multicultural club and leadership, and for AVID to come and ask me and Roadtrip Nation to ask me to come here and make a speech and represent not just my school but also my community, shows that I am and proving all those people wrong who doubted me. Thank you. Well, enough talking about myself. I want to discuss the educational struggles of all California students in my generation and how AVID and Roadtrip Nation has helped me with some of these struggles. First off, I think we as students feel rushed and pressured to learn a lot of information. For example, having to learn specific state standards by a certain point. The STAR test judges how well we know the standard and is the most important test of all. We only have a week and a half to take it, and it covers every academic subject we have in that year. This pressure to pass the test is intense for all students because it also affects our school. This test makes me feel so uncomfortable. Every time I take it, I get so nervous and tense. School isn't the only place where we feel pressured and rushed. People in our lives don't take the time to actually listen to what our interests to what our interests are, and many times they are telling us to be something we don't want to be, like a lawyer or a doctor, only because it's good to pay. Roadtrip Nation defines this as noise. Noise is something or someone that is telling you to be something or someone you don't want to be. Adults are telling us we need to know now what to do with our lives, especially because of the economy and the money, and because money is tight. However, I think it shouldn't be about the money. It should be about our satisfaction and what we feel happy on doing. They don't know much about the California standards or the tests we need to meet in order to accomplish success. Our parents need to understand that our requirements need to be above and beyond. And unfortunately, most of our parents can't help us with that. They still support us by trying to go to school meetings and talking to teachers on how well we're doing in the class. This is where AVID and Roadtrip Nation come in, to help us with things that our parents can't help us with. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and it's a great program that helps students like me get through many struggles that we face. Through my AVID class, that's how I discovered Roadtrip Nation. Both programs help us meet the requirements we need to be able to be successful in life. Roadtrip Nation helps us understand that it is important to plan our future and not rush through it. That it is okay not to know what you want as a career. They say it's actually better because they actually say it's better because it makes you explore more and makes you go out there. Another thing AVID does is give us all the tools we need to be able to pass tests and SATs or help us with questions we have about school. We do tutorials every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's very helpful because if we have a question about a subject, we write it down and we get into groups. Then the people in your group help you get the answer by asking you a question. Then AVID and people in our group help you get the answer by asking you other questions. What AVID has taught me so far is never to give up on opportunities because you might end up regretting it. Something else they taught me is how to be organized. They helped me to get all my information of all my classes in just one binder, 7 classes. If it weren't for AVID and Roadtrip Nation, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be getting what I need to be successful. Roadtrip Nation has taught me so much of this too. This program actually asks you to go out there and explore. For example, an assignment we had about 2 weeks ago was to go out and interview someone successful that you might feel awkward talking to. The person I interviewed was my cousin Juan, and I chose to interview him because he was just like me when I was younger, and he had the same struggles. But in addition, he had trouble with the law. He turned himself around, and now he is getting straight A's and a high GPA, and he is planning on going to a 4-year college. He was currently accepted to UC Davis and is waiting for UC Berkeley's response. You see, Roadtrip Nation forces you to go out there and talk to others and ask questions like I am doing right now. I am very grateful for the opportunity I was given to be an AVID and participate in Roadtrip Nation. The past generation, I bet, would have had it much easier if there was something like this for them in school. Maybe we don't have these many similar struggles. Hopefully these 2 programs continue helping students in the future like me so we can build a great, strong nation. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley and I'm a sophomore at South San Francisco High School. So a question that's probably on everyone's mind is, how is learning changing and how is it evolving? Well, I believe that education is always changing and evolving and it won't stop, because regardless of age, we continue to learn throughout the duration of our lives. And it's just because that's human nature. We're curious people. But I think that the way that people prefer to learn today is much different than what is thought as a good method. The traditional way to learn is to read out of a textbook and then answer questions on the material you read. But the problem with that method is that you don't really engage and comprehend in what you're learning. You're just kind of sitting there and just trying to understand. But learning effectively today requires a more interactive and hands-on approach, more time to apply what you're learning to your everyday life. Think back to childhood. One of our greatest accomplishments as children was learning the alphabet. And how did we do that? We sang a song. The way that I learn best is by asking questions and discussing and analyzing. I'm a very interactive learner, and to properly learn something from me, I can't just sit in the back of a classroom and listen to my teacher read out of a textbook. I have to engage and discuss and apply what I'm learning in class to something outside of class. Some tools that have really helped me to learn this way is in my AVID elective class, we do tutorials, which are basically study groups that you present questions from your other academic classes to your other students, and they help you come to a conclusion with your question. It helps me get a better perspective of the subject and the concept and I get somebody else's opinion, which is such a more effective way to learn. Also, I get to help somebody else learn something that they may not understand themselves. And me reteaching it to them makes it that much more effective for them to learn, and I also understand it better. Our schools and our teachers can improve this way of learning by implementing programs like Roadtrip Nation, which has been also another big help to me. It has been a really big wake-up call on the learning process, because in Roadtrip Nation we do untraditional assignments like getting out into the world, not sitting at your desk and answering questions. You're constantly talking to people, checking back at your own experiences, and it's very different. You learn to find the answer to a question outside of a textbook, and that's so valuable. Another thing that I think schools can really help students do is to allow us time to really process information and discuss our ideas and opinions, and not to rush us when it comes to lessons and assignments. Cesar was talking about state testing, and it's a very stressful time for all students, I think, because teachers put so much pressure on us. Some of them say, well, we're a little behind schedule, so we need to move on to the next lesson. And we might not even understand what the last one was on, and we don't get it. And I know from personal experience in the past, state testing comes around and I'm like flipping through my book and trying to reteach myself what I've learned, because I really can't remember it because we haven't been taught it very well, and just rush through it. So allowing that time would make our test scores better and just allow us to feel like we're really learning something. And another thing that will really help us learn more effectively is going back to childhood again, the idea of playing and be able to play with ideas. When we were younger, during free time, we were given pieces of paper and you can draw whatever you wanted. You had no limits. You had no rules. You just had creativity. You could draw whatever you wanted. You could draw outside the lines, and it was okay if you messed up because you could just get a new sheet and start over. You didn't feel constrained or obliged to do anything a certain way. It was all on you. I think that we should try doing that in high school now. Now, I'm not saying, at the end of the day in high school to, let your students go and play with Legos and scribble on the walls and all that. Nothing like that, but allow us time to mess up, really, and to try things in a new way, even if they're not the correct way, to see what ways things do work as well as the ways that things don't work. Failing will help us succeed. So allowing us to do that will create a better learning process. And in conclusion, I realized that us students can't be taught like robots, like mass-produced robots. We need individual attention, and we want to be taught with excitement and passion and joy. And thankfully, I have been blessed with many teachers who express these qualities, and they love what they do. They love to teach. And when us students are taught with that encouragement and that joy, we get excited to do our homework. And then therefore our teachers are excited too, because they know that they fulfill their jobs as educators. As students have also been told that our job as students is to go to school, do well, and learn. That's basically our work. And I think that that focus needs to change. We need to shift that focus onto how can school work for us. Thank you.